I'm Sarah.
And I'm Abram.
Um, so
Our habit of mind is metacognition, and
the title
the
that we gave our essay is Thinking About Thinking.
Thinking about thinking.
That was our definition of metacognition. Um, so
here it goes. All right. So our summary, and this is from our lightning talk. Nothing extra. All right. So metacognition is thinking about thinking. When you hear the word cognition, some people might respond as if you're speaking a foreign language, but it simply means thinking, and in particular, you are thinking. There are three variables that make metacognition stand out from cognition. Those variables are personal, task, and strategy. Metacognition goals is to push your thinking, making sure you understand what you are reading, and if you don't understand, what strategies could you use to help you understand completely.
So, our specific audience would be our classmates because they're the ones reading our essay in order to understand what metacognition is to apply for our badge. Their background knowledge, they'd probably have little to no background knowledge on metacognition. I definitely didn't before we did this project.
Well, I had a little bit. I have ethics, and I had psychology last semester, and metaphysics, and then cognition, try to put them together. And I got a somewhat good sense of what it was, but not really. So that's when the research came into play. Our audience, as you said, did not really know, would probably not know about metacognition, so they'd be uninformed.
But you see them showing more interest in it because they have no idea what it is, and it's a big word, and it
big
sounds
word,
interesting.
It sounds interesting. That's why we chose it. Not really.
So your purpose, what we want them to know,
is metacognition is very important.
And I think we'd also want them to know the specific pattern that we came up for them to follow in order to do this, which is
self-awareness, which involves knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
And then PRR, which is plan, reflect, revise. Planning would be scheduling out your work, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it. Reflecting would be monitoring your own work as you're doing it. And then revising would be reading your own work over and over and having as many outside sources as you can read your work. And then lastly, sustainability.
Sustainability, which is what it sounds like, sustainability. You're trying to sustain this type of thinking for your paper, for your whatever you're going to do. Because like we said in our lightning talk, you're going to edit, revise, or whatever, read for the rest of your life in most people's careers. So knowing how to do it efficiently and effectively is very important. Okay. Where we at?
Arrangement patterns.
Arrangement pattern. Okay. All right. For the arrangement patterns, so with the MLA, so we had introduction, background,
significance and student examples,
along with the works cited. So we had the general format for the MLA, but what we took more interest in was our significance part, where we actually, like we just said, how we planned it out, which was self-awareness, plan, reflect, and revise, and sustainability. We wanted to make sure that it become from most important to most beneficial. Now, putting PR in the middle means it's both of them, but they're all equal in a sense that you need to have all of them to be a complete person in metacognitive sense, if that makes sense. Okay.
So what would be expected from a college student as far as these go? Because we're at a college level, we should be following the MLA format very specifically and citing our sources as much as we can. And how did we meet these requirements? We met these requirements by, as soon as we used a source, make sure we write it down so that we can go back and get the correct citation for it and continue to make sure that we use the correct citations. How did we build a strong argument?
For strong arguments, I would say that the student examples constructed as strong argument, being that they might have the different badges, which in our essay were social justice and hacker, how those two different badges both use metacognition, with is shown through the evidence how they use metacognition, and again reiterating metacognition. Metacognition is important, and they showed us that. And why is it effective for your audience and purpose?
I also think.
Okay.
Sorry, I also think it's a strong. We made a strong argument because our essay was so structural as far as our instructions with what we're telling our audience to do. So there's no like wishy-washy. There's no like. It's not like a hard pattern to follow. Basically, like they can write this out like in a chart or something and fill in each part and do it correctly. We made it so that it's not as hard for them to understand because there are so many more aspects to metacognition than there are with a lot of the other badges. There's a lot more to understand and follow, and we try to do this in a way that there's a pattern to follow, and I think that we did that effectively. What were you going to say?
That was it.
Okay.
If we, what I lacked, she fixed. So we worked together in that way.
Group projects.
All right. You go first.
So once again, I'm Sarah, and it's hard to say that one did more than the other in this project because we really split the work 50-50. We each wrote over 1,000 words, which was more than we were required to, but it's just because there was so much that we had to go over, and we would really sit next to each other and each write a paragraph that were about the same size, something that we were more interested in ourselves. Like, I was really interested in coming up and writing about the PRR, which we both came up with together, and he was more interested about writing about sustainability, which he understood really well, and we both had trouble with self-awareness, so we literally wrote it sentence by sentence with each other.
And by the way, that's an example of us using metacognition, being self-aware about strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. So, yeah.
So,
revisions.
Can I say my name first?
Oh.
So my name is Abram again, and she stated our contributions were equal. So now we can move on to our revisions.
So, the feedback that we've gotten. So, the feedback that I've gotten with this essay. I gave my mother, my sister, and who's a teacher, and my cousin, who was just a really good college student, access to reading this essay. And my mom basically was just like, good job, and so was my cousin. They didn't really revise much, but my sister revised a good amount, but it was mostly just with grammar, punctuation, and all that. She said that our order and our structure was really good, and that there was nothing to change as far as that. So we took basically all of her suggestions for our essay.
All right, and I sent it to a few of my teachers, one from high school and one from middle school, because I stay in touch with my teachers. But I sent it to my high school teacher, and she sent it back with a lot of comments, again, for grammatical issues, and just being a person who does not know what metacognition is, or having read a paper before about metacognition, trying to understand what it is from our writing. And so I like to brag about ourselves, and I believe that we did a good job dissecting what metacognition is for us, not just for the paper, but for us also. Because now that we know, we are able to apply it and be more conscientious of when we are using metacognition.
It took us a while to really understand what it was